Okay, so this is where we left it, and I was debating what to do. I think what we want to do is, because we're trying to turn this little view into something we can add tapping to, then we were starting to make it into, let's go to the letter view. We changed it to take a store rather than, if I show you a change. So it did take a character and a colour, now it takes a store. Store state is the same character and colour. So we've changed that, but we need to be able to test it, and obviously the code needs to be changed to call it with a store instead of the character and the colour. So we could move this into a new module, and I think I'm going to show you how to do that next. So I'm going to take this letter view, which is in the game feature, and we're going to add a new module. So we've got game feature, so we can just add a new module for the letter view like this. Like that, and then that's a target, so we need to add a target. Try and keep it in alphabetical order. The target is letter view dependency. Well, it's definitely dependent on composable architecture. What else is it dependent on? That's it. So that is setting up the package. You'll notice that I've now got this error. That's because I need to then put it into its own folder. I've got a folder and it's still got a little cross on it because the folder's empty. But if I just drag that there, we've now got, that's all gone. I don't know when the question mark is there. I'm going to add it to source code. It should be in source anyway. Adding that, and then if we change to the letter view module, we can start to build just the letter view. So put me down there for a bit. We show the canvas. Let's do it on that. Build successful. Right. Hold on. Letter view. There we go. If we resume this, this should now draw, and even though the game feature code was not compiling, we should be able to just play this view. No idea why this text is so small on the console. There we go. And we can see these previews. We can preview, we can show all the different colours. Show them with a red. There we go. So we can start to tailor this somewhat, and it's all live, and we can do that now because this is in its own module. And all we did was create the module in the package and then create the folder for the module, and it's all done by naming convention. So it's, if you name things correctly, it does. And then we just dragged the letter view into its new module, its new home, and it just works. And because we've made it all public in the first place, it can be exported from the module to be used by other views. So now we've got that, we need to add in a tab. Now we've got to use a tab letter, so we could just add a tab gesture to the text box. And then what we do is we send, use a tab letter to the store, and then here we are. So that's that done. We have no actions. We're not even going to do anything really, to be honest. We can probably just have an empty reducer for now. And then we need to go up a level, so into the row view. The row view now needs to work, so we need to switch over to row view, which is in the game feature. So we choose the game feature and see what we need to do to build it. Obviously, I love it when it says build failed and doesn't tell you why. There we go. Right, can't find letter view in scope. That's because we need to import it, and we need to make the game feature dependent on the letter view. So in game feature we just add letter view. And then we can import it in the row view. Just like that. Move that. Next, we're not initializing it correctly because we need to scope a store. We take the store and we use the scope. We're going to scope a state and an action. The state we're going to call backslash letter. If I can find the backslash. Where did they hide backslash? Where have I got backslash? Oh, there. Gonna have to get my key map out. Can't find it. Right. Where would you put backslash? No. Oh, no, it's not around here. Must be on raise. There's a number. There we go. M. Raise M. Backslash is raise M. Raise M. We can call it letter. So we're going to add this functionality to the row state, where we can essentially get a letter, which is going to be a letter view state. And this essentially is a binding to the letter. Well, I'll show you. It's going to bind to a letter in the row. do we send on letter view? We go through the letters. Oh, okay. So we want a for each store. So we want a for each store, really. So hold on. Don't even need to do that then. Yeah. So because we're going to use this thing called a for each store, because we're going to go through this array of the store. So we scope it like this. And the row is the letter scores. So that's the row. Just scoping that. Well, we need the content. And we're going to have an action. And the action is takes a row. Right, so local action. Just trying to remember how to do all this. We take a row action. And we want an ID and an action. And we end up with a store here. And that's what we're going to give to our letter view, I believe. So we need to add into this our row action. So we'll take an ID. It's going to be int. And we're going to take an action which is a letter view action. Interview state. Hold on. Try and remember all this without looking it up because I'm videoing. Right. Our row has got these letter scores. I want to send a letter score in, so the letter view state, and I need a colour, surely. Right. Where did I get colour from? Okay. Right. Right. So this, I don't think I should be changing. That should go right. do that. That's going to go in the letter view now. Okay. And then, well done, I've got this all wrong. Use letter view state takes a character and a colour, not a letter score. So where? What is the? So it should take a letter score. So letter score doesn't have a character though. Ooh. Oh, the guess does though. Okay. Right. Getting myself all muddled up. Let's rewind that a bit. Change that. Let's move this back. Because I've done this. That's what happens when you don't write. So, to get the letter and the letter colour into this, then we need to, in our view store, we need to write a get. Yeah, which is going to be for each letter. We need to create a map of these to letter view states. Okay. So I'm just going to do that now. God blimey. All good fun and games. State. Right. Well, you know, I wanted to show you me going wrong as much as going right. I forgot my timer. We're just going to go into a good stopping point today on this one. So, basically, we need a letter view states, which is going to be an array I'm going to make it identified. Let's just make an array for starters. Array of letter view state, and we're going to have a get, which is going to return letter scores mapped to the letter view states. And that's going to be a letter, which is our string $o, and then the colour, well, we're going to use this colour bunch. Don't know why I've designed this like this. I think it's because I was making it up whilst trying to talk. This is like slightly bonkers. So we're going to have to enumerate this. Map it to the letter is going to be guess. Offset from the enumeration. Good, guess. Take the offset. The colour is the element. So let's element. And we need to make that public. Wait for my code gen stuff to be finished. I won't have to do this ever again. Okay, it's no longer public. Value type. Oh, cool, it's a word guess. It's got some letters, great. Right, so we construct we construct our letter view states from the letter scores. Well, we need to do a bit of work because we need to look inside the guess, which is actually an enum, and pick out the letters array and then look at the letter at the offset, but it's an index element, so we need to grab the element out of that to get to the letter, which seems rather palaver really. And then to give the colour, we need to take the letter colour from the letter score. So there we go. So that is the getter. And the second part of the binding here really is the setter. I'm going to leave that empty because I'm not going to be, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything here. Let's put a photo array in just in case. So now we can go through our letters, which is an indexed thing, and we can we go through letter view states. This is so not how I want to do it. Now I can do it for each store. And we're going to take the store, we'll scope it. This is the important bit, we scope the state. It's going to be letter view states, which is the binding we just created, and then our action is going to be the row action, the letter as well. The letter action is actually the letter view action. So here we go row to letter. Actually ID for this going to be its position, hopefully, on the action. So its position, its ID for each letter is hopefully, and we can get rid of that, and now we're handed a store. Now that store we're handed should be the correct shape. For the letter view. So and now we need to make letter view state identifiable. So this state needs to be identifiable, so it needs to have a position. Which we can sort of power, so we're going to have int, public, and we need to create that when we're building our letter view states. So here we now also have the ID, which is going to be our offset. Right, so that seems rather complex. I think I did. Oh, I didn't do that. But obviously, honestly, if you've thought about this beforehand and you're not trying to talk and make it up as you go along on the whilst making a YouTube video, it's a little bit easier than how I'm making it look right now. And then we set the ID. Well, essentially, what we're doing, I'll just go through it, is we're creating an ID which is actually the horizontal offset in the grid. So now when we throw back here, that should work now. Okay, feature maybe. Okay. So I'm using an older version, an older idea. There's an easier way. I think I can just go straight to letter view states. Oh, that would be much easier. If that's right, that's what that message meant. Oh, that's easier. Build failed. This needs to be an identified array now. Okay. Oh, okay. So we're going to send out an identified array. Let's try and neaten this up. Okay, get there. I'm trying to record here with people shouting.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Cannot convert letter view state to expected argument. What's the help on this? Let's have a look. Up there. Okay. Oh, I still have to scope it. Okay. So, all fun and games. So I still scope. Of course you do. Store, scope, state, and an action. For action. I don't know what that H stack is doing there. This is right. So eventually got there. So now we can just like basically go through this rigmarole with a for each store, but basically there's only one way to write this correctly, and once you've figured it out, you're done. But the way I was remembering badly was actually deprecated, so there's a new way of doing it, which is this. So we're using the for each store, we're making our letter view states available as an identified array of letter view states. We're going to just create the array with the unique elements like so, and then when we've kind of unwrapped it all, or wrapped it all up, converted it, basically bound it through the scope, and we've bound the action to this row action letter, which we can obviously switch on. I don't know why I want that. Now, oh, we already have a switch. What will we do? So we've got a case, and now we've got the letter. Now, let's do a case now. This is actually the column, and this is the action. Use a tabulator, so we can go print finally on the column. Now just I'm going to return none. Right, there's 2 more errors to fix. This is so here. Just going to ID 0 it, and then here, these are our preview screens, so we can move me back, bouncing all over. So the preview's back up and running. One final issue with build, don't know what it is. Try and build it again. Build succeeded, you know, sometimes it gives you old errors. Okay, so that was the row view, so now we should be able to resume the row view. And if I could make this, I don't know what I've done there, maybe it's in the theme. Theme console. Oh, console. Hey, oh, it was. No idea why that was so small. That's no idea. That's better. Okay. Now, if we clear this console, oh, I'm getting in the way all the time today. So it's not reacting to anything because in the row view we have a row reducer and we need to add in, so when we defined it we just did these actions, but we need to pull back on the other one. So what that means is we're going to combine 2 reducers, the one we've got already, with a pullback of the and this is actually called the reducer, and then we need to pull back on the other one, which would be the letter view reducer. And we're going to pull back to find a letter view state. But it's a for each, hold on. So we don't use that. Because we're using for each store, we've got a special for each. And we give it the same key as before. Called letter view states, I believe we use that. And we use a case path with a row action. And we know we've got void. So I'm going to give it a void. Okay, so tidy that up. Should be right. So this is combining these two reducers, so hopefully you'll run the letter reducer and then run our other one. Oh, we're not going to print, are we? Oh, let's try Yap. Fix that. Okay, we're not getting a tap, which is slightly annoying. So let's have a look at the code. I thought I put the Untitled Chapter in. I am wondering whether it's on the background view though, or whether I really should put it in a padded view. Oh, I know. Quite often, right, so here's we want it on the full view, but we need to actually, there's a shape thing, clip shape, content shape, and we want that to be a rectangle because otherwise the contact is actually just where the letters are, I believe, which is obviously really small. So let's try again. Okay, I don't know why that's not working then. I'm not hitting this tab gesture. Oh, we are. We are now. Okay. Oh. Well, this doesn't actually do anything. That should be fine. Let's just put in a case. And tap. Okay. So that sends. Oh, okay. There's something else going on here. Well, what can it be? It can be the fact that the reducers are not being run. So in our game feature, our game reducer doesn't do anything. We have a board reducer, doesn't do anything. What is the reducer in the app? It's the game reducer. Right, so in the game feature, but this is only combining the keyboard and it's not even doing the rows because we were only detecting the keyboard before, so we need to add in our row view reducer. And what did we call it? Well, we need to change that. Right. Wasn't ever putting back on that. So, there we go. We need a row and we need an action game row. Emmeline, I'm trying to record. The environment, I think the environment's still a bit empty. So let's just neaten this up a bit so we can understand it. So we've got a row, got a game action, got a environment, transformation. In our game state, we've got board or keyboard. We don't have a row. Oh, board. Oh, the board has rows. So I think really we're going board reducer. Yes, we are. Look at that. Game. So really, we want a board reducer. Okay. That's going to be board. And that's going to be board. Keyboard and board. And because we're now doing that, we need to make a setter. Leave that empty for now, just to figure out what the hell's going on. And then the environment needs to be turned to a board environment, which is nothing's going to be void. Game environment, there's nothing away either, it's going to be void, it's easy to... that's that done. Then the board, we already put in the row here, and the rows here, so we've almost got there. It's going to pull back, so we're just going to make this equal to the row reducer for each. What's going on here? Again, this is going to have to be okay. Let's see. Our environment. Again, it's nothing. Oh, just putting the wrong keys. Right. So we're changing all our environments to void environments because we don't have anything in the environment as yet. So this is quite a large change, to be honest, but we're getting there. Right, so now we've basically created an app reducer, which is an optional game reducer, and the game reducer combines a board reducer, keyboard reducer, and some other stuff. So this keyboard thing can go into keyboard really. So this case here should go into keyboard. We'll do that in a minute. And then we've got our board reducer, which just does a for each over each row. So that's essentially what we're getting here. And now we should get it bubbling up, and actually it's quite a good way of showing how the for each works and how these combinations work. Because I've got this going. So we are calling the set, so I'm going to fix all this up in a minute. We're not changing any data, so the set is not going to do anything. So we've hit our tap, so, and now we know what column we tapped. Tapped column 0, right? So we tap column 1, okay, but we don't, it doesn't tell us what row. So what we do is we're in the board, basically in the board reducer, we're creating this identified array here of row states, and the identifier of row state should be the row number. It's an integer, so we're maybe in luck. So we could detect in this reducer So if you look back at the row, there's the row producer. So here, what we were able to do was kind of what I call spying on. We spied on the letters action of user tab letter, and we were able to dig out the column from that. But we can do exactly the same in the board reducer. So we can, we're doing all of that, so then we can, that's all we need to combine it. Okay. Equals stop combine. Oops. Going to combine this for each with our own reducer. And the reducer takes a state, an action, and an environment, which we really don't care about because we're not even using it. So just do that. And we do our normal switchy stuff. God, there's too many brackets there. Combining this I'd like a nice way of doing this. What's going on? Right, good. So here we've got an action here, which is row. So the action we want to spy on, so we're getting the row, and then we're going to spy on the row action. With the letter action. It's going to give us a column. Oh, hold on. God, hold on. Where is it? It's called row, yeah, and it's a row action. And the row action is a letter action. So it's row, dot letter, column, dot. User tagged letter. Okay. Okay, so this rather long, not quite right yet. Board action is now. That's where I'm going on. It's the row with the letter. Right, so this, so if we just play that, let's clear that. So when I tap that, I get three things printed now. I get the tap that's detected in the letter view. There's the reducer here. So this letter review, that gets the taps, right? And you can do anything you like to the state here, whatever state you've been passed in, you can change, and that will propagate up when we set the sets. At the moment, if you change the state, it won't propagate. So that tap hits there, and then it's in the row view. We essentially are spying on the letter view's action of user tap letter, but because we also get the ID, then we know what the column is. So that's the second line here. It tells you the column. And then finally, in the board reducer, we're actually going over all the rows, and we're spying on the board, the row action, and which is spying on the letter action of user tap letter. So we've kind of like got nested views here and nested board reducers. So this gives a third and final piece of information. So we now know, and we can act on this event at any stage as it percolates up, or ignore it even. At the moment we're just going to print out what we're tapping. And then next time, now that we've detected the tap correctly, which is from this tap gesture, and I need to put the content shape in to make it the whole rectangle rather than just where the text is.